Hey, welcome to this web tutorial series. So, there's been a lot of demand in recent months for making website portfolios or kind of online CVs, and they can be a little bit difficult to know where to get started. So, this isn't going to be a HTML, CSS masterclass. There's loads of them already available. This is about how to actually build a CV portfolio. We're going to be using HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap, and I'm going to be demoing the full process from start to finish throughout a series of videos. So I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you find it useful, and hopefully this will be the first of many. Okay, guys, so this first video is just going to be about how to get yourself set up. So for some people, this will be the first time they may have used Bootstrap or even created a whole project. So I really want to just take this a bit slow and just make sure that everyone knows what they're doing. Now, I would normally use GitHub for this or Git Bash, but I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to just literally take it back to basics here. So the first place is to decide where you want to code your project. I'm actually going to put mine right here on the desktop. And so I'm going to come here and I'm going to say that I want to create a new folder. And I'm going to call this one CV Portfolio. Cool. So the easiest thing really is to open this straight into Visual Studio Code or whichever text editor you're planning on using. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code just because I always do. I highly recommend it, particularly for web development. It can be really useful. So just to make this easy, you can just drag and drop this and it'll open it up here. So obviously this is just an empty folder right now, but the benefit of doing it this way is that as we create new files, they'll automatically save already in that space. So my first default is I always come in and I create a index.html page, and this is going to be the main thing that has all of our code on, and a style.css page, and this is going to hold our styling. So once you've done that, let's start by kind of putting the boilerplate code in. So for HTML, the HTML5 option VS Code actually fills up most of this. If you don't have a text editor that does that, then maybe pause here and just copy this and make sure that you have. The main thing is that the doc type, the header, the body, and the HTML. But for ease sake, I would just copy all of it, and then you won't kind of get confused on what you do and don't have. So this title bit, that's what shows at the top of our web page. Now, I actually have a particular extension added to this that allows me to actually go live with this and to be able to launch it. So it's already on autosave, although saying that for some reason, it's it's not giving me the option to do that. So I guess I'll come back and look at that in a second. So I'm going to start by saying that this is going to be, let's just call it, I'm going to give it my name. Actually, I'll do website CV. But this is what shows on the top of the tab when we open it up in the internet. Now, to keep this super simple for those that are completely new to doing this, I'm going to show you just the easiest way to view your web page as it stands right now. So without having to add loads of extensions and fun stuff, if you actually click on the folder and see where it's currently been stored, and if you click this, if it has the Google Chrome icon, you can just double click it. Otherwise, say open with and choose whichever internet browser you want to use. So right now, we're not really going to see anything too exciting, but I'll just show you what does come up. You can see that website CV that I wrote up there is showing. So cool. I'm just going to leave this in the background for the moment, and I'm just very aware that I'm going to just zoom in a little bit because I've got a really big monitor and you can't always see. It's not always easy for me to tell how big this is showing to other people. So cool, that's the first bit. Now, the next thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to link my style sheet. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to be using the link tag. And this already populates it with style sheet. And the reference for this is going to be the name of the actual file, which you can see it starts to self come up when we're using Visual Studio, but not everyone will have that option. So cool. So that's going to link that particular style sheet. Now, just to show you that everything's working, I'm just going to start by putting this is my web page. And this is mine's on autosave anyway, so it's just automatically going to save in the background. But when I refresh my page, we can see it here. And in fact, what I'll do is I'll just share the screen for a second, and I'll make this one a bit bigger. We're going to talk loads about CSS shortly, but let's just say that for that particular H1 tag we just put in, I'm just testing that things are working right now. I'm going to change the color of the text to aqua. And hopefully, there we go, we can see that that's now changed the color of that text. So that's just my first little test to make sure that these are linked together. That's something that a lot of people forget to do, and then style won't be applied. Let's take that off though, because that's a really brash color when it's against white. And we're going to come back to kind of what all this means, and we'll take this out as well because this isn't really relevant for what we need right now. Okay, cool. Another thing that people often forget to do when they're kind of new is if you're not on autosave, making sure you save all your pages, particularly if you're making changes in both. And also if you don't have the live extension on, then making sure you're refreshing the page to be able to see those changes. I'll probably turn that on before I do the next video, and I can leave some instructions in the comments on how to do that, or maybe I'll quickly demo it. We'll see. Cool. So that's got that. And then the next thing is I mentioned we're going to be using Bootstrap. So this bit's really important. And I want to make sure that you do this straight away, and also just to test it works. And these are like my default go-tos. Now, I normally just copy this straight out of another file I've got where I know it's already definitely working. But as we're doing this from scratch, we're going to show you. So don't worry about what Bootstrap is right now. I'm going to explain it fully. I'm going to show you how it all works, but just know that it's a way that we're going to be able to build websites faster. And so we don't have to hard code everything completely from scratch. So if you click the Get Started button, you're going to need a couple of things. You can need this CSS Style Sheet, which is Bootstrap's version, and we need that. That's really important. So I'm going to put this in here. And I've just copied and pasted it straight into the top. And just to be good practice, I'm going to do a comment. And this is how you write comments in HTML. So comments mean that it won't be executed by the browser. It's just there for our own benefit. So I'm going to say that this, just Bootstrap CSS. And in fact, just to keep it consistent, I'm going to put my own comment in here. And the shortcut for that on VS is Control//. And in here, I'm going to say my CSS. Cool, just so I know that they're different. And then basically it gives us two options. Now, I'm not going to go into explaining all the key differences between this. So I would just say, get the bundle. This is what adds the JavaScript. So we won't be doing JavaScript in this project, but Bootstrap has some built-in JavaScript that adds some functionality and I guess some interactivity to some of the components that it provides that you're able to use. So you do need that in order to work. And again, good practice just to say, so these are the Bootstrap JS and jQuery forms. Okay, so we're now set up and I just want to check that it's working. And so what I'm going to do, and again, don't worry that this doesn't all make sense right now, is I'm just going to use a Jumbotron class, which is something that's built into Bootstrap. And I'm just inside here going to use a heading, and I'm just going to say testing. And if this has worked, then when I look at my web page, I should have a kind of grey box in the background that, doesn't really look like it's doing much, but actually is doing quite a lot, I guess. So it's this one here. Cool. So just by writing the word Jumbotron, I've got this grey box, and it's, so you'll start to understand that more as we go into Bootstrap. But hopefully, if you have the same code written into your page, you should have the same thing showing. So it should say that it is, it's got this grey background, and that's how we know that our Bootstrap and everything is fully connected up. So now that we've got that, we are pretty much ready to go. And so make sure that you pause, make sure that you do all this bit, and then the next thing is that we're going to actually start deciding what's going to go onto our web page. I'll show you the example we're going to be building, and then we'll be ready to actually start putting some code down and get things coming together very quickly. Okay.